Sharing best practices has long been continuous, has long been important to our continuous improvement. The idea is you simply identify the best way of doing something, either in your industry or in a part or a pocket or a niche or a component of your company, and then you roll it out across your company. And this brings us up to the highest level of performance. Sharing best practice saves time, energy, money, resources, and gets us to the end point of higher productivity, higher performance, faster. Welcome to JTintheRaw, show 267, where I chew the thin on business, and after 32 years in business, you know I have just a few things to chew. And this week, I want to talk about sharing best practices. Carol, good morning. Mira, good morning. Great seeing you guys here this morning. And why am I talking about this? Well, I was inspired this week. You see, for the growth of organizations, you simply need to identify and then implement the best practices to make your business stand out. Now, I'm extremely biased because I run Rex roundtables here in Australia and work with them in the US. And so every week I'm in a group of owners and managers that share best practices. And so today's show is simply inspired because this week I had 4 meetings with Rex groups. We shared best practices for Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales, where we really peeled, Richard Peel, good morning, where we really peeled back how to get the most from our Black Friday sales and our Cyber Monday sales. We drilled right down deep into the automation process, best practices. We discussed the best practices for running challenges in our businesses. We talked about how to have someone buy into our business as a partner. What were the best practices that we needed to? We talked about best practices around wages for group fitness instructors. And we talked about best practices for employing people. In other words, what was the go-to question that we all asked? What was the best question that we would all ask in an interview? These are just some of the best practices that we came up with this week, all of which fine-tunes our businesses, saves us time, saves us money, saves us energy. So, what are 9 benefits to you having just internally, as a leader internally, having a culture of sharing best business practices? Well, number 1 is really simple. It nurtures a learning culture in your business. You know, did you know that sharing best practices is one of the best ways of building teams and fostering a learning environment? Companies that share their best practices internally through whatever modality, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but they will attract great talent. They can adjust their businesses to change, and we're used to that over the last 2 years, and they're more likely to boost employees' performance. Number 2, it identifies and fills knowledge gaps. Another major impact of sharing these best business practices for you is that it keeps your managers focusing on recognizing the existing knowledge gaps within the companies and therefore identifying the content that needs to be shared. You simply come up with better strategies this way, ultimately leading to higher productivity, which is, of course, what we all want. Number 3, when you've got this culture of sharing best practices, it generates creative and innovative ideas in your business. It simply allows people to share new ways that they do things, or even exploring what would be new ways or more innovative ways of boosting our performance. And that gives them a love for work. That gives them a deeper reason for the purpose of what they do. Number 4, often that sharing best practices enables better decision making. When customers face problems, we tend to look for information in order to solve those problems. And by sharing the best practices, we can ensure that customers' problems are solved efficiently. It ensures that faster decision making, perhaps better decision making, but eventually, again, this comes back to improving performance as well as productivity. Okay, what else? What's number 5? Number 5 is that it boosts efficiency in our business and also competency. Did you know your employees could be wasting a bucket load of time trying to find the right solution to problems, and a substantial amount of time unproductively seeking relevant information? When we share best practices consistently, we shrink that time considerably in trying to find the knowledge or know where to go to get that information. We basically give everybody a roadmap by sharing best practices on who we go to and where we go to solve the problem, improving efficiency and competency. Now, number 6, it constructs a supportive corporate community. Knowledge sharing acts as an intuitive way of forming a close-knit community. We see that at Rex Roundtables, the way we all connect. And with a dedicated information sharing platform, businesses can store that knowledge in such a secure space that everybody can access it to. Now, we use Slack. On some of my Rex tables, we have a closed Facebook group, but it enables us to always have a go-to place to find those best practices, whether they are best practices around operations or best practices around strategies. But we've got a hub of information that we can go to. Personally, I love Slack because it's got those channels that are set up, and you can go to channels based on the topic. The Facebook group, it's just a news feed. So it's hard to go back and find the old information that we used to share like a year ago that is now relevant to us. So we use Slack, and I love it. I love it. And we also find that the Rex groups that use Slack the most are the ones that are the most profitable as well as the most productive. Sean Lestrange, good morning. How are you, sir? All right, number 7 is that it provides employees with that internal knowledge base. When we share best practices with each other, it basically gets away from employees saying, I don't know. When we have this as part of our culture and we're building this into our business, sharing that practice means that you build up the internal knowledge around your business and gives better product knowledge, speeding up the conversations with customers, but also just making our staff more knowledgeable. Fiona in Melbourne is telling me that she uses Microsoft Teams. Lots of people have used Teams during COVID, haven't they, Fiona? So that one's really come up. So you got Slack, Teams, Facebook Workplace as another one. So there's lots of platforms to share these best practices. All right, number 8, when you share best practices and have that as a culture within your team, it reduces the loss of know-how. Know-how is an important asset in every business, every department, but it has to be managed properly. By sharing the best practices, your company will capture the knowledge and therefore reduce any losses that you're going to get in your business. And finally, number 9 is that it simply cuts down costs and time. Simple as that. Sharing best practices will just save your employees from committing the same mistakes over and over and over again. Ultimately, they should come up with the right decision, and then we can replicate that. And as we say in corporate speak, rinse and repeat. So, in addition to the time saving, we're speeding up the process with our clients. We're also saving money, saving energy, saving effort. It cuts down so much of that wasted time when it comes to problem solving. Your team can simply get all the responsiveness that they need to improve our customer contentment. Ladies and gentlemen, running a business is hard. Understanding best practices to running a business makes life easier. I'm extremely biased on this topic because Mike Anderson, good day over there in the US. I'm extremely biased on this because I have seen for nearly 15 years the benefits of Rex Roundtables for club owners. Now that's using an external party in order to come together and share best practices. You can run best practices within your own organization and develop that in your own as a culture of what you're trying to do, a value within your business, if you will. That is your choice. If you're an owner or a leader in your business and you're interested in Rex, hey, reach out to me. I'll have a chat to you. I seriously don't understand why more people don't do Rex Roundtables. When I hear the results that we got this week, or the discussion we had this week around best practices, I was inspired. And I don't even own a gym, but I got ideas around running companies and running businesses. Sharing best practices can develop a community within your business. Employees, your team members can provide really powerful and helpful insights, which will simply boost your team members' efficiency, productivity, cutting down on costs, sharing the right information, and therefore helping you make more money or give you more time. Integrating best practices should be in your culture. It will improve the growth of your business. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got value out of JTintheRaw today. I know I get enormous value out of learning best practices from my peers and even sharing best practices in JTintheRaw every single week. So we're on the same time every week. If you got any value out of today's show where we talk about best practices, please hit the share button wherever it is. And if you got any value, whether you're watching live or on replay, I just saw Fiona hit me up with a love heart, and I think I saw Rich give me a thumbs up. Thank you. I'm really grateful for that. Have an awesome week. I'm about to go hit the gym, so I will catch you on the flip side.